So earlier when I was going through the list of the hives, and I said I wasn't sure the status of all of these, but I thought they were doing okay. It turns out that hive number 7, the single box, we are suspecting, and it's pretty much confirmed, that they have a laying worker, which means the queen left, the brood all hatched out, they were not able to raise a queen for whatever reason, and in the absence of a brood and a queen, one of the workers decided to lay. Well, the workers are not fertile, so they lay drones, only males, and they're not very good at what they do. So I don't know if you can see. I'm going to look down, show you down in the cells.
See larvae, but I don't see any with off the bat multiples up towards the top middle. The top middle, there's
you see the little larvae
multiples
inside. There's, so that's still, you can see some of these right here are different sizes. Left. These are eggs down in the cells.
Do you see multiple eggs?
And then there are several. Here's one that has multiple. There are several of these that have several larvae in the same cell, which is definitely a laying worker. A queen would not do that. So we are going to have to fix this. How we fix it is for debate, because for every beekeeper there's a whole list of ways to do anything. We're going to try the method.
We're going to the authority.
Okay.
We're doing Paul Kelly's method.
Okay, who's Paul Kelly?
Paul Kelly is the apiary manager for the University of Guelph, and he's the man who knows. If you do things the way he does, you got it right. We'll see though. But
so he basically just does what?
So he just combines it with a queen-rite colony.
Okay.
Getting that pheromone going, because the reason they're doing this is they've lost queen pheromone, and they have no brood pheromone, no queen pheromone, and in the absence of that, the workers have one last attempt. They try to perpetuate their genes, their genetic heritage, by creating drones. Hopefully they'll go carry on.
So in this frame you can see the shiny is nectar. These solid colored ones, those are pollen.
There's a ton of eggs.
And then there are eggs and larvae like we showed you earlier in the other cells. They're not fertile eggs, so when they go to cap them, they'll cap them really deep because the drones don't fit in standard size cells. So it's just going to be pretty much a mess, and it's often really tricky to get a laying worker colony queen-rite again. So we're hoping this works. We trust Paul Kelly as a source, so we're going to do his method. I'm going to go ahead and put this on pause, and I'll come back in just a minute when I can show you what we've done. So we're back again.
They're using the top entrance.
What we're planning to do now is this colony, the tricolored colony, that was a package. They have a queen. They're what we call a queen-rite colony. And so what we're going to do is, we know that they have queen pheromone. We are going to take the honey super off, because we always want that to be on top above where we want the queen to be.
Don't have a queen excluder. Maybe the queen isn't up here. Maybe they got enough honey.
So we're going through this honey super just to double check that the queen isn't up here, because that would kind of ruin our efforts of trying to keep them.
The chances are she would probably integrate, but there's also a chance that colony will kill her.
Yeah, that's not the ideal way. So as you can see down in there, building home on plastic foundation. That's another already built out. They're putting some nectar in. This is a package. You don't really generally expect them to do a whole lot in honey supers. Maybe draw it out. Definitely not enough generally to pull and spin out the honey, but just verifying that we're not seeing the queen before we take this super off.
Or eggs. Then I'm going to do the next best thing. We're going to leave this super on.
Okay, so it turns out, good thing we did the inspection.
Yeah, there are eggs in there.
The queen has been up here. This colony does have a lot of bees in it. And so this, as you see, there's brood and there are eggs in the honey super. It's good because they didn't
more brood.
swarm, but it's bad because they're not putting honey in the honey super.
They ever screw this up.
Oh, they made a mess of comb and put drone comb sideways. Oh, they just made a mess. We generally just clean that up because we don't need that many drones. Yeah, what a mess. They will clean those cells out. Use the protein from the drones. Ugh, what a mess. Okay, so we're going to go to plan B, which is to just leave the honey super on, the honey super that has brood in it, and apparently leave it on, and put the paper between it and the new box so that they will eventually chew through it and acclimate. The new box that we add is the one that's not queen-rite. They will realize that there's a queen down there and brood down there, and they should take care of it, and the laying worker will stop laying. That's the theory. We'll find out for sure in a couple days, hopefully, or a week. So back with you in a minute.
Oh, there's someone walking right up under my nose.
Well, goodness, there was the queen in the honey super. She's curled around. Where'd she go? There she is. She has a bright green dot on her. So yeah, that would not have worked to pull this super off. Glad you checked. So you'll notice we wear bee gear even when the bees are acting calm. First of all, it's no fun to get stung. Second of all, we both have reactions. What?
No fun to get propolis all over your face.
Yeah, you get all the gunk that you see all over our gloves and our jackets. Those get all over our clothes and our hands otherwise. So yeah, we just rather stay protected and covered up. It just seems like a no-brainer in our minds. I'd rather wear the gear than be stung. So we still attempt to do everything as carefully as possible because they'll still sting through the clothing, but anyway. For those of you following along, we actually pulled that frame out from this side of the box. The outer frames often don't have much of anything in them. That one did not.
I'm being lazy.
So as long as it's on one of the outsides, if it doesn't really have much in it, it doesn't matter that much. So we go ahead and put it wherever. Since we know the queen is up there especially, we try not to move the frames around as much. That's more opportunity to squish her. That's the last thing we want to do. All right, I got to get back to helping. So this is our kind of it's almost a vapor barrier, if you will. It's the barrier that we put down to keep the bees from smelling things. It's a gradual introduction of the bees.
They'll chew through the paper.
So,
and with the queen up at the height like that, she'll probably come up here and start laying, because there's a lot of open comb up in here.
Yeah, so they'll release her up there. So our goal at this point...
I wouldn't be surprised in a week if there's like 3 or 4 brood frames up there.
Yeah. Our goal at this point is we'll get the top box queen-rite, let them realize that the laying worker needs to stop laying. Once that's done, then this hive obviously is going to have a ton of brood, because it has brood in the bottom 2. Brood is the larvae and eggs and all the young bees that have not yet hatched and become actual bees. So, term for you there, if you weren't familiar with that term. In a week or so, maybe 2 weeks, we will probably pull this top box back off, and they will realize they're without a queen. They'll have eggs this time, and we'll let them raise a queen, or we'll introduce a queen that we have made in the queen castle. If that one is not being used somewhere else, we might just introduce her to them after they've realized that they need a queen, and we'll accept her. So anyway, that is what we're attempting to do to fix a laying worker colony. So at any point in time, you never know how many beehives you have. I guess technically we have one less than we had this morning. So we'll be back to the full number again soon.